We've just had major 3I Atlas updates. It's going to force researchers to take a second look. Both new data and messages from Spirit are all pointing to the same direction. Could this be an intelligently guided craft that's passing through our solar system now? Between the science and what I'm receiving from Spirit through channeled information, let's answer the big question: what the bleep is this thing? To be clear, I'm very skeptical about the idea of this being an extraterrestrial craft. So let's have a little bit of fun. I'll present some information from science, what I picked up from remote channeling, from channeling, remote sensing, or viewing, and we'll see if we can prove me wrong about that. So firstly, the object was discovered in late July by the Atlas telescope system, the third interstellar object, hence the 3I/Atlas. I think it was July the 30th, coming out of the constellation Sagittarius near Scorpius, right around where galactic center is. So the conjecture there was that this was a traveler from closer to the center of the galaxy. But why was it discovered so late? It's it's very dim, obviously, but with these high-powered telescope systems now, it's a pretty prominent object to just miss until it's actually pretty close to the inner solar system, actually in the inner solar system. Could it be that this is a spacecraft that went from translate speed to subspace speed in that area, and then it was discovered that way? In essence, from our vantage point, it would have rematerialized out of the blue, because obviously space travelers towards the middle of the galaxy, they'd be 1 billion years old if they were traveling at 60 kilometers per second. So I'm a scientist at heart, just to be clear about that, even though I'm a scientist turned medium. So let's look at some more of the science, and like I said, we'll get into more of the channeled information in a minute. But it's traveling, this object is traveling along the elliptical plane. So backing up a little bit, first piece of evidence that it was discovered very closer than it should have been in my estimation, suggesting that maybe it rematerialized. It came from translate to sublight speed. Second thing, it's traveling right along the elliptical plane of the planets within 5 degrees, which is about 1 in 500 odds that it would be doing that. And that would allow this alien craft to be able to stay in the inner solar system longer at its current rate of travel, to study more things, to have more time to research and to study. And on top of that, there's also 3 other comets in the inner solar system, 2 of them reaching their perihelion around the same time 3I Atlas is, and they discovered that the Earth has captured, I guess, an asteroid or some kind of a space body, basically a second moon. So are these kind of like helpers to the main craft? Or is there somehow that this craft was able to draw in these other comets to support it in its mission somehow? And it's close past to the inner planets. It's going to pass by 4 planets, particularly close to Mars and Jupiter. And then it's going to be it was in its perihelion and during its superior conjunction just a few days after. So it's closest to the sun when we could not see it. Was it perhaps doing some tests or experiments, or taking data of the sun, or doing things that they did not want us to see? Also, with that very close superior conjunction with 3I Atlas passing behind the sun, just a degree or 2 off on the elliptical plane, could it be using the sun as a magnifier and amplifier to either send information to the Earth or receive information from the Earth? Also, what about the NASA shutdown? Early October, it passed close to Mars. The Mars orbiter would have given us our best photos of it, but NASA shut down, and we don't have those photos. Yet there's other NASA functions that are still going on, but we don't have those photos. Could NASA or the government know that this is an alien craft, and they're trying to hide the proof from us, and that's why that they concealed that? Also, what about that it's shown signs of luminosity, being brighter than what it expected or what it should be? Could this be also that it has some kind of a a propulsion system, maybe a nuclear system or something of that nature, or a nuclear engine. And then it's outgassing towards the sun. And while it was behind the sun, and while it was, a few days ago, when the big sunspot group rotated, it fired off some massive solar flares, some huge plasma releases, plasma and ionic releases towards 3i Atlas. Could it be being powered by the sun? And are these coronal mass ejection that launched right at it, the strongest ones probably in the entire solar maximum, is that a way that it refuels and re-energizes? So interesting stuff. And when I remote viewed it, now going back a little bit, I saw green. That's why you use the thumbnail for that video that I released on, I think, the 21st of August, a good 3 weeks before they discovered the green color. I felt super high energy with it and around it. I saw a lot of nickel. That might have been in the second video that I did on that. And but that it had a metal core, that it was larger than they thought, that it was more dense than they thought. And I felt consciousness, I felt life, and I felt purpose around that. Could that be because it's an alien craft? Well, when I went in, I did not see a craft. It did really look like, almost like somewhere between a giant rock and an organism, to tell you the truth. But I didn't see a craft. I didn't see, beings. But if they're intelligent beings that want to hide, are they cloaking from psychics and remote viewers? And that's the reason that I didn't see it. So unknown, there's also a very large coma around it, a dusty coma that's about half the diameter of the sun. Could that be a big sensor, or gathering or sending information out into the universe? It has an electric charge. Maybe it's here to help to repair the sun, or repair the earth on some level. Also, some very noticeable solar enhancements has happened as this object started to come into the inner solar system, and flares just seem to be being pulled, almost like plasma being pulled off the sun. You could look at some of the filament ejection and coronal mass ejection and say, is this actually pulling this, or is this just the natural interaction with the electrical fields of the comets, the sun, the earth, and so forth? And still, right now, the object is still pretty hidden from view. It's coming out. I mean, it's out of the perihelion. It's going to be at the perigee of the Earth on December 19th. So in a couple of weeks, it'll be enough out of the glare that we get some photos from the Earth from high-powered telescopes or orbiting telescopes. Somehow, there's been some pictures released, not good quality ones, but it kind of validates that the object is still on its projected course and on its projected path, maybe just like a half a degree arc, degree, a half or 0.1 or something like that of an arc degree off. But what they found is that it's gotten a lot brighter than what they expected. And maybe that's because it's charging up and energizing and receiving and absorbing information or energy from the sun for its fuel. Also, it seems to have changed color slightly, trending a little bit more toward blue in its coloration. And perhaps also, or there's evidence to support that maybe it's releasing more plasma gas and stuff than anticipated in its perihelion and its superior conjunction to the Earth and its closest path to the sun. But other than that, there really is no new information. And it's been a while now, and granted, it's out of view of Earth-facing telescopes. It's been out of view for a while because of the glare of the sun. But there's other ways they've been studying this. So why hasn't there been more specific information released? Could it be because it is an alien craft and the government doesn't want us to know about it? Could this perhaps be their way of introducing themselves slowly, like rather than just showing up, at the Pentagon or in Great Britain or wherever and say, hi, we're here, we're aliens, and we're here to guide you? Maybe that they're doing this incrementally to get the populace used to the idea so people don't freak right the heck out about it. But in any event, given all the lottery odds of everything that we explained. And I know I missed a few things, so you're free to comment anything that I missed. Um, it's a viable conclusion that it's extraterrestrial, or at least possesses intelligence and purpose, right? Well, not so fast, because science can also explain this as well. And actually, I did another video that was a bit more science based. You can check out, it's right above. But in any event, through some of its through some of the scientific conjecture and everything. So, but in any event, let me move right along and let you know what I think this is, what I believe based on what I know about science, what I've received through spirit, and you can let me know if you agree or disagree. So let's apply our critical thinking as well as our intuition. Let's suspend disbelief, but remain healthily skeptical. Is that a word? Healthily? Remain with healthy skepticism and such. And by the way, this is where I will invite you to like and share this video if you're enjoying this. And if you want to see more of our content, come up on your home feed, subscribe to the Medium channel. So I got a sense of consciousness and purpose. And I said that right off when I did the first video. And now I did some channeling the other night also, which just added on some more information to what I received when I did remote viewing, or I should say remote sensing, because I'm not trained as a remote viewer. That's a very specific process that government agents were trained. But what I do is I get into trance and I project my consciousness at it, and I really felt the energy, and I got the green. I as I explained earlier, I got specifics that were not known yet, so that gives me some belief that at least some of what I picked up is accurate. We'll never know. It's an inexact science, right? It's an intuitive exercise, but that's basically what I got. So I channeled, and this is just wild, what I got. So try to stick with me because it's really out there, but it makes sense, I promise. So in the remote viewing session, I saw perhaps that it was a life form. Maybe a life form we don't understand, but that it was a life form. Perhaps its biology is mineral-based, but that it was alive, it had energy, or even part of a larger being or a larger consciousness. And I think it was the second video I did, that it might have been one of my tarot times, that I put out the idea that maybe this is a cell, a single cell of a much larger organism. So hear this out. We are discovering life in places on the earth where scientists believe that life could not possibly exist. We live in a multidimensional universe with infinite possibilities and infinite levels of life. And this is not an empty universe, and they're discovering more and more. There's energy fields, there's dust, there's so much going on in solar system space and deep space. And there's just so much we don't understand, and there's so many levels to life that we don't understand, that everything in the universe is alive. Everything carries some resonance of life and energy. And this idea that I got in my remote viewing, we may have been able to expound on that when I got the new information, because I really got that feeling like this could be the cell of an organism that spans through a major part of the galaxy, that every cell, like we have 15 trillion cells in our body, that every cell of this organism could each be like thousands of kilometers apart, meaning that there's trillions of these interstellar objects roaming this universe, this galaxy. Just one idea. And, moving right along, chances are this will come and chances are from a human or scientific perspective that this object will come and go, and it'll be deemed an interstellar object. We might learn a lot about the inner solar system or the inner galaxy, a lot about how things work, but I don't think it's going to be deemed as something intelligent or extra. The universe is a living being, and I believe this is some kind of a life form, consciousness, interdimensional intelligence, perhaps a life form that we don't understand, that possesses universal consciousness. But I never got any time that I went in remote viewing, I never got any inkling of a feeling that this may be hostile on some level, that it is in some way here as a benevolent force for our consciousness upgrades, for our awakening, and to help humanity evolve and grow. So what if it's here to maintain, repair or upgrade our earth, the sun, and the collective fields? Exchange information, supply new information to our human collective that in the language of frequencies, and to the sun, to the earth fields, the collective fields for our spiritual upgrades to start to tap into new and higher gifts and abilities and realizations. And I felt strongly that it was really here, that is benevolent and really here to assist. So here's where it gets really weird. So if that was weird, let's see if we can top that. What if its purpose is to run the matrix? If this is part of a multi-network life form or being, as it were, a consciousness, as it were, that was what's the right word? That if it was written into the program of the matrix, downloaded into the matrix, and what if its purpose is to help to run the matrix, to make periodic repairs and stuff like that? The matrix being the illusory reality that we live in when we get separated from who we are, spirit or source. It's believed by some that we live in a computer simulation, or it could be a spiritual matrix like Maya or the illusion. But what if that's what it is? It's just part of the maintenance and repairs of this reality, our classroom that we live in and that we're growing in and experiencing life from. So I see it as a guardian being or an emissary of higher beings heralding in our great ascension, our golden age of enlightenment. And I believe that that's the bottom line with this. Maybe here to teach us the lesson of connectivity, teach us that everything is alive, everything has consciousness, some to greater degree or different degrees than others. So when we start to wake up spiritually, we start to realize that we're not separated, but that we're connected to everything. So what if this is really here to teach us the connectivity, that everything is connected to everything. And when you wake up and begin to remember this, that's when you begin to reconnect with God or spirit or source. And I think that that's its ultimate mission. It's just coming during this time. It's a time of ascension, maybe a second coming of Christ kind of energy, and it's a beacon for that. But it's here to help us with our upgrades, our changes, and to help to upgrade humanity. That's what I believe, but that's only what I believe. Let me know what you believe in the comments below, and hopefully that makes sense. So I'll leave over here because I'm filming this in early November. Let's leave the November psychic forecast. I have a lot more on 3i Atlas here, and I'll leave my latest 3i Atlas video over here for you to check out. And I love you. Thank you. See you at the next video.